The IT industry has given me a means to live and is the home to 300 million software engineers, which grows every year. This industry has produced breakthroughs in tech which makes everybody's life simpler, and it also provides a basis for people to make a living off of it by writing code and creating products that helps people in their daily lives. We often hear about different aspects of this industry, like interviewing, salaries, careers, job prospects, your future scopes, and things like that. But there is an important question to be asked here. What is the true nature of this industry? So this is something that we are going to be discussing in this video. And just as a massive disclaimer upfront to the viewers, that this is going to be one of the most opinionated videos I'll ever create. Don't let this be the video that changes your perspective towards the IT industry or your future or anything that can happen in this industry. These are just my opinions and they are not meant to be taken as facts. So now that we have the disclaimer out of the way, let's begin. We start off with the life of a student who's studying in a university or who is self-taught. They are told that in order to get a job in the industry, they have to create a portfolio or a resume and they have to find job listings to apply at. This is where multiple factors come in, and this is where one of the core realities of the industry is seen, the hiring process. So how it happens is, some company puts out a job listing and within a few hours or few days, hundreds of applicants apply to the job position. This puts the company at a very interesting problem. They are tasked with filtering out those resumes and find the best fit for the job. Notice that I say best fit, not the best candidate, because there are multiple factors that play in here for a company to decide which of the candidates is the perfect hire for the job. A candidate who is absolutely cracked at LeetCode might turn out to be not the best person to hire for the job. Different backgrounds like regional, educational, financial, or cultural makes it difficult for the recruiters to level the playing field for all of the candidates. Let's say a company puts out a job position for a React developer. Now, out of the 100 applicants or more that they will receive for the job position, the company has to mix and match the different factors at play here. Some people might not align with the budget requirements. Some people might not align with the experience level that the company requires. Some candidates might not have the ideal educational background that the company requires. Some candidates might not have the best attitude in the interview room. All of these factors play at your chances of getting hired. We want to believe that the IT industry is a true meritocracy. This is because we are wired this way from our very early childhood. In our school time, where we spend 12 years of our life, we are told that if you work the hardest, if you study the hardest, if you're the hardest worker in the room, you're gonna score first rank. And that's gonna give you some kind of distinction. However, this theory is completely set aside when you enter the job market, because this is where your educational, your financial, your budget requirements, your experience level, your soft skill requirements, they all play a factor in you getting hired for the job. And your educational background is just one of the factors that decide if you will get the job. One more thing that I would like to discuss here is, this is where preferences happen. Somebody who lands a job in the industry will attribute all of the things that they did in their previous life as a factor that got them the job, whether that was in their control or not. Some candidate who lands a job through their good LeetCode ranking will forever believe that the LeetCode score was the only factor that played a role in them getting the job. And that's the opinion that they will tell to other people, that hey, you should just grind LeetCode. This is how I did it. This is where difference of opinions happen, because different companies have their own different criterias, and we don't have a standard or a set rule that dictates who will get the job. Some companies just do direct walk-ins. You just walk into the interview, talk to the HR, and there you go. That's when you know whether you got the job. Some companies hold exams that you have to sit in a classroom and you have to be given a question paper and you have to answer on an OMR sheet, and that decides whether you proceed to the next round. Some companies have educational background requirements. Let's say 8 CGPA is the requirement for you to apply to a job position. We can only hope to tell you to do LeetCode, get good grades in college, do DSA, do programming, do projects, build in public, and things like that, because all of these factors, they increase your chances of getting the job. However, none of them guarantees it. Even if you fulfill all of the criteria mentioned for the company, there is still a chance that you will not get hired, because it just so happens that somebody else was a better fit for the company, better fit for the job role or position, and you were not it. The one reality of the IT interviewing process and the hiring process is unfair, it's competitive, and it's random. And it's all three at the same time. Now let's switch gears a little bit. If we take an example of a simple IT company, we know that there are multiple job positions in the company who are working together to keep the company's operations smoothly running. These positions include, but is not limited to, the investors, the CEO, the programmers, the QA testers, the product manager, the project managers, and so on. If you're aware of a simple phenomenon of human beings, you must have seen multiple videos on social media where we have seen time and time again how the more people you introduce into the chain, the more data is lost when communication happens between multiple people. This type of phenomenon is also very prevalent in the IT industry. One example of data loss through a communication chain can be taken with an example. Let's say the CEO is visualizing the product feature in a certain way. They are unsure of the requirements and they don't know how that can morph into the actual product when it rolls out to the public. So they already have some sort of morphed image about a feature which they have drafted up in a document. Now that document's information gets trickled down from the top level to the very bottom level, which can be assumed as the software developers. Now, as that information passes through multiple people, there is some data to be lost there. This is pretty well documented in the IT industry, and there have been multiple tools to stave off the data loss in communication. These type of tools helps everybody to be on the same page as everyone else, and even then data loss still happens. Now, one other form of communication gap that I want to discuss is the communication between technical people and non-technical people. Software developers have had this problem of communicating technical things to a management person for the longest time now. How the corporate sector, the management sector sees the software development lifecycle, which is in terms of financials and timeline, that's not the same way software developers look at software development. They see it in terms of complexity. When you have people who are just tasked with managing the timelines and the complexities of the project, and you as a software developer have something technical to explain to somebody how your product crashed or why your product crashed or what led up to the events of your products crashing, let's just take product crashing as an example, this type of communication gap is seen very clearly, where the more the software developer tries to explain the technical details of the faults of the system, the more clueless the management sector or the management person is. These type of communication issues often leads to software developers' stress and burnout. Now I want to add something to this. I'm not holding it against the management sector for not understanding the details in a way that a software developer understands. But as a software developer, it has to be realized that it is a part of the job to explain technical aspects to management, given that they don't see the project development in the same way as we do. This type of thing happens with experience. So if you're a fresher and are facing difficulties conveying your thoughts to a management or your boss or somebody who's not technically as sound as you, I want you to stay assured of the fact that this is something that you will pick up in the long run. Don't worry about it so much. Now, I have talked about this before, but I also want to address the AI prompting issues. We as software developers are told that we have to adapt to the latest technology or get replaced by somebody who is using that technology. This type of statement makes some assumptions. One of them being that software developers are good at conveying their thoughts. And when it comes to a form of a text box where we have to enter the prompt, some more communication gap happens. Previously, how it used to be, where we would go to Stack Overflow and find 10 answers to our questions and we had the option to choose the best one for our use case, is completely changed the equation now. Now we know that software developers are introverts. We are not good at conveying our thoughts in the form of text or voice. But now we are expected to guide the AI into building the thing that we want out of it. That is vibe coding. I am personally against it, but I can't deny the fact that there is a communication gap between the software developer and the AI who are together producing the output. The software developer is not engaged with the code as much as the AI is now. The software developer is only refactoring the code the AI is giving to them, which leads to a communication gap as well. This type of communication gap often leads to more and more prompting and consumption of AI credits. This type of communication gap needs to be addressed because it challenges the very nature of programmers. Programmers are usually non-social people who are just in their corners building things up. Now that they are told to talk to the AI in a way that it produces output and usable output, it creates some additional stress onto them. And who knows, in some cases, it might even add to more development time, but I might be wrong there. I don't have enough data to speak on it, I'm just saying it from my own experience. Sometimes the TypeScript code that AI gives me, I end up having to refactor it more and more, which adds up to even more development time than what I would have taken without the usage of AI. So after this communication gap discussion, let's switch gears one more time. Now I want to talk about the very nature of employment. The employer wants to maximize the productivity but wants to minimize the budget for the employee. And on the employee side, they want to maximize the budget and they want to minimize the productivity. This creates a very contradicting relationship between an employer and an employee. The employer says to the employee that they can hire anybody to replace them, and the employee says that they can get a job at any place they want and replace the employer. This type of contradiction is very well documented in the IT industry, and we see examples of it day in and day out. Another example of this can be seen in the scenario of an employee clocking out of the office. If they clock out on time, they are looked at as somebody who's not a team player and aligned to the company's mission and are just focused on the paycheck. Now, if they clock out late and they stay late at the office, they are looked at as somebody who is inefficient and not good at managing their time. This type of contradiction is also well documented in the IT industry. And the final paradox that I would like to discuss is loyalty versus replaceability. The employer wants the employees to stick with the company's mission for a long period of time, but at the same time, letting them know that they are replaceable. This causes the employees to question their job security. And with the recent advancements in AI technologies, we are promised that there will be one day when software engineers will be replaced by AI technology. Now, whether that day happens or not, only time can tell. But these are some of the realities of the IT industry that I wanted to discuss in this video. There are a few more points that I would like to discuss, but I'm gonna leave them out for the next video. I will put up some of the topics in editing process so you can get an idea of what's to come. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do, and share this video if you found this video helpful. So that's about it for now. See you in the next one. Thank you.